Copium. Copium. Here's your daily Copium. One final take. Will Dialga Palkia get new forms in the next 2 weeks before or during the E3 season? So yes, as you know, the covers were dropped 2 days ago of Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. It showed Dialga Palkia on the covers, and the entire world reacted to it, realizing that it seemed like there's no Primal Dialga, no Primal Palkia, and related to that, seemingly no Mega Evolutions. But there's this drug people take when they can't accept the news. What's it called? Opium? No, copium. 50% of the population has taken this copium, and we are lingering on to the hope that Dialga and Palkia still have a chance to get new forms. Now, if you saw my last video, listen, I've accepted it. I've accepted that I'm just gonna watch the ride play out. I want Megas back, I want Dialga and Palkia forms, but we don't know enough information at all. All we can do is hope, so I'm gonna cope. But I'm gonna share with you the last hope of whether Dialga and Palkia can get new forms. Let me start this off by saying, by new forms, it doesn't mean primals. It just means something. An origin form like Giratina has, the equivalent to Necrozma Ultra Bursting, anything. Okay, I'm gonna put my tinfoil hat on, and we're gonna be on the side of really wanting Dialga and Palkia to have new forms. Exhibit A, I wanna show you guys something. So, when these covers dropped, first we got this Japanese image with the Japanese logos and Dialga and Palkia. It wasn't very high resolution, but what came out shortly after on Twitter and when Pokemon updated their official site is we got high resolution photos of the Pokemon Diamond and Pearl covers. So the first thing that people say about this is that, one, yes, this is not a form change for Dialga and a form change for Palkia depicted here. But before you go ahead and throw away and say they don't have new forms, Mr. Copiums, there's something with the way they're posed. And people are saying that maybe they're transforming. And you stare at it long enough, well, he's doing something. Maybe he is transforming. You stare at Palkia long enough, that pearl is glowing, the starburst pattern coming from it, looks like he's transforming as well. It legit looked like they're transforming. And so what I tweeted the other day when I noticed people saying this is that maybe it's possible. Maybe it's possible they are transforming, a big maybe. And the reason that they went with these covers, instead of showing the Primal Groudon and Primal Kyogre equivalents on the covers to make it sell so much better, the reason they went with these covers of literal just Dialga and literal just Palkia is to continue their little thing where they're calling this a faithful remake. Because this is what Pokemon Diamond and Pearl's covers look like. They literally made them into Switch covers. So they put the same Dialga and Palkia on the covers, have a blacked out background. And so if they're really riding this faithful train, makes sense. Makes sense that there can be a transformed version of these two, but just to seal the deal on that faithful package, they made even the covers look the same. Copium point number 2. The real reason I brought up these covers is because these covers are for some reason in extremely high quality. Look how high quality it's in. I can zoom into this dude entirely. We can take a look at that Brilliant Diamond. There's that Shining Pearl. Jagged, sharp edge diamond, smooth Shining Pearl. So if you continue to look around on this image, there's two things people noticed. One, I don't know why people noticed this, but they're saying Palkia has fur, and it's just something I don't want to think about. Like, apparently Palkia has fur here. Just, guys, stop. But here's what I noticed, and I'm sure other people must have noticed this. When you zoom in, there's something wrong with these dumbasses. Let me show you. Zoom in on Palkia. What kind of battle has he been in where his tusk is like deteriorated a bit? It's decayed a bit. What, were you stone Palkia and you just resurrected? Look, I don't know why these covers are so detailed. Because these covers, you're never going to have them this big when they're in front of you. But it depicts the actual artwork. Palkia has been through some decay. He's worn down. And this is the big red flag right here. It's like he's painted, bro. Like, the paint is coming off. The pink is coming off. He's losing his pinkness. He's literally going to turn into a gray looking legendary. Let's look at Dialga. Dialga's a steel type, so it fits even more here. It's like his steel has just been hit again and again and bent. And it really feels like these Pokemon have existed for a long time. Like, look at this. This is not the god of time. This man should be in pristine condition. Like, no one can touch him. He got an injury and he still has it. So what I see when I look at this, especially this is my favorite one right here, his paint is coming off. It's almost depicting these forms as their weakened forms, as their reduced forms, as the withered down Kyogre and Groudon that it turns out these are. Everything, everywhere, this pink is the king. Even around his pearl, all decayed. I've never ever thought of the fact that these dudes look like painted Pokemon. I know they're made from Arceus, but it's not like Pikachu's yellow is gonna start wearing down. So the thought exercise here is the fact that that's not an accidental thing. Whoever created these artworks intentionally drew them worn down. So now let's go back to the fact that this dude's diamond is glowing and this dude's pearl is glowing. Maybe they are transforming. Maybe. And maybe they are like this on the covers just to be faithful. And it brings in a lot of hope. But just be careful with this hope. You let me know if I'm crazy or not. That's actually the big thing I wanted to talk about in this video. These Pokemon look like they've been through some worn out time. Oh, here we go. I finally found a good spot where even Dialga's blue is wearing down. You know, when you look real closely at Dialga right here, just stare at this right here. Don't you see Palkia in this right here? And then if you keep staring, you start to see Giratina. There's something odd with the faces of Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina. They actually all are very similar. And this brings me to our final Copium. Okay, let's go to Copium number 3. This one's a bit of a weak one. This one's kind of not relevant to the other two. But I'm trying to think of a reason that a different formed Dialga and Palkia aren't on the covers. If it isn't for the faithful narrative, if they do have a form change, one reason it isn't on the cover is maybe the statue in Eterna City, they're trying to turn real. History lesson. Here's the statue in Eterna City. When you play through these games, you see the statue, look at it for a bit and walk by, but you never really realize as a kid that this statue is wrong. This is not what Dialga looks like, and it's not what Palkia looks like. It's combined both of them. Dialga's on all fours, Palkia's wings. This is a combined version of Dialga and Palkia. The history lesson here would be that these are the gods of time and space. No one has seen them. There's no way anyone has seen them. And if anyone has seen them, what they originally look like has been lost to time. Or they misremember what they saw. So when the history of Dialga and Palkia was passed down, what they depicted it as just combined both of them into one. In the Adventures manga, you get an actual way better look at it. It kind of reminds you of Black COPIUM. You can see Palkia here, Dialga here, Palkia's wings, and a Dialga crown and Palkia face. You don't see no Giratina, which is cool. Another history lesson for you guys is that when Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl recreated the statue, it seems like they actually referred to the Pokemon Adventures manga because he looks exactly like he does in the manga. Since, you know, this sprite isn't much to go off. They showed this in the first trailer. Maybe they wanted to remind you that it existed because they're going to build on this. Maybe Dialga and Palkia fuse in this game. It's not an idea I'm fond of only because we have COPIUM. And do we really want these Pokemon fusing again? This is one of those things where we know the reason behind the statue looking like both of them. It's just that it was lost to time and no one remembers what Dialga and Palkia look like. But they could spin off the story and make it so that there's a reason there's a statue of them like this. So maybe the reason their form change isn't on the cover is because the one form change they get is merging into whatever this thing is. Now let's say a few things here. First off, I'm not super fond about this idea because, I mean, everyone just wants Primal Dialga and Primal Palkia. Even though it doesn't go against any established lore, it would really feel like a retcon if they just suddenly fused. I mean, the first time they introduced fusion with the original dragon, it was really cool. They did it again with Necrozma. I could dig it a bit, but it felt a bit redundant. This would just be weird to have it again for a third time. But you know, to point out something about Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina, they're all Arceus. They're all literally, they're like a mini clone of Arceus. So when you get into the territory of combining them together, it's weird because it's like if you combine Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina, you're just gonna get closer to Arceus. Bonus Copium. So some unreliable leakers have been hyping up all day yesterday and the day before that the new Nintendo Switch is gonna be revealed. Guess what? The leakers were wrong. You never heard me talk about it once. I don't trust these leakers, bro. So in terms of the thought process of why they still haven't given us a trailer, and they literally, when they revealed the release date, they just revealed the release date, not even a new screenshot, just boom, release date, pre-order it, is that maybe what people are saying is they're waiting for the new Nintendo Switch to be announced so they could advertise it alongside that. We got some information for that new Nintendo Switch. So this is the missing page on Amazon, but somewhere on Mexico Amazon, they actually leaked the title, if it's real, is called the new Nintendo Switch Pro, which, I mean, you got a lot of people making like memes like this, which are pretty stupid. But in my eyes, it seems like it's not one new console, it's two. Like there's gonna be a new Nintendo Switch, And then a new Nintendo Switch Pro, kind of like the new 3DS and new 3DS XL. And so you know what Pokemon did a few years ago with the DSi? They're like, enhanced features for Pokemon Black and White. Get the DSi. Don't play this on your DS Lite. Let me see, what do they say? Oh, if you get the DSi, you can use the camera with the cross transceiver. And then other games hyped up with the new 3DS having that extra little joystick, that there are only things you can do on this new console. So maybe to just make money with the Nintendo, they're holding off on where their trailer is, because obviously ILCA knows when the new Switch is being announced, so they're timing it. So maybe they're gonna drop their actual trailer later on after this new Nintendo Switch has been announced, so they can advertise it alongside that. Maybe they cut a deal with Nintendo. Either way, you know the deal. June, the first 2 weeks of June, it's near guaranteed that we're gonna get trailers. Probably the new Nintendo Switch will be announced, and we'll finally see what's going down with Dialga Palkia. If there's one thing, they may not show Primal Dialga and Primal Palkia on the cover if they really do exist, but once the hype train starts in June, they're gonna start off showing that crap. They have to hype people up. The first trailer is not gonna be just a place that's chibified. They have to show something new to hype people up. This is just me putting my tinfoil hat on. Of course, I've sat on the last video I made thinking about why they're not on the covers. Taking off my tinfoil hat, so far the impression I'm getting is that maybe Game Freak / Pokemon is not as interested in main series games anymore, so they're reducing it back to doing the minimal, because people will buy it anyways. I'm gonna buy it anyways. But if they pull a 180 on us, and the reason they're not on the covers is because they're faithful covers and that they actually do get new forms and there's a lot of fun stuff they have planned, okay, then I see what you're doing. My favorite point, honestly, in this video is myself looking closely at that image and realizing this man's paint is coming off. Like someone took some isopropyl alcohol and smudged up Palkia's arms, and this dude's paint worn off. Like, these scratched up walls have better paint than Palkia. Who painted Palkia, bro? Arceus changed forms into like a human and painted Palkia? Go on, conquer space. What you don't see in that Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver cutscene when you have Arceus is that before he makes the egg, this man, in all the Google image crap, while you're paying attention to that, he's painting the Palkia and Dialga, and then old looking egg. Oh yeah, one more copium. Some of you guys told me this. The idea that Pokemon Legends has the weirdest cover. What I see in it is a Breath of the Wild like cover. I don't know if Pokemon and Game Freak are trying to just full on copy Zelda and they're like, listen, this is a Breath of the Wild like game. But the question here is, why is Arceus not on the cover? Like, when a kid goes to the store and they see a Pokemon game, they're gonna be like, I want that Arceus game. I don't know if many kids will be like, I want that Zelda looking Pokemon title. You know, this is the first time Game Freak's ever done something like this, so it really makes you think a bit. The Arceus game doesn't have Arceus on the cover. They didn't go for max points there. Maybe Dialga and Palkia do have forms and they're not on the covers because they're not going for max points. They're going for faithful points. Well, that's it. Go on and shank that like button. Subscribe if you're new. See you on the next video. Take care.
This the sound of my alchemy, the greatest success for all those who fell for me. I always respect the friends who wish well for me and live until the end to die.